I'm sitting here with two of my friends and partners with Specificity Inc. We have Kevin Harrington, original shark from the TV show Shark Tank and inventor of the infomercial. And also we have Jason Wood, who is the CEO and founder of Specificity Inc. Today, we're going to have some conversation about digital marketing, about growth, intense focused digital marketing, how to get more customers. And we're going to kind of go back and forth between all of us here. But I want to start out by having Jason, the CEO, just give a brief background about himself, but also what Specificity does. So Jason, let's hear it.
Yeah, so personally, I've been in the digital marketing space about 12 years as an owner of a digital marketing agency. I started my career as a sales and marketing director, leveraging marketing to try to obviously affect conversions, that type of thing. And in that endeavor, it was really frustrating for me. I worked for a company that had a very niche audience, and we were forced, due to the nature of technology at that time, to leverage shotgun marketing approaches to try to hit a very narrowly defined niche. That is a high likely buyer of a very particular product that catered to a very specific hobby, the car enthusiast. And it was frustrating because we knew we were wasting just a ton of money. So when I started my first digital marketing company, we set out to solve that problem, which is how do we take a marketing spend and direct it at people, and singularly at people that care about the product, that have the wherewithal to buy the product, for example, that are in the market for the product, and not waste all this money putting ads and serving impressions to people that don't have any interest or the wherewithal or the situational dynamic to need a product. It's just a waste. And so Specificity merged that ideology with technology. And that's what we do. We leverage emerging technology in the digital marketing space to do very granular audience build out so that our clients have the ability to focus 100% of their ad spend on people likely to convert. And then we obviously can track those conversions. And for us, that's the name of the game. I tell people all the time, I can take the worst marketing to a very right audience in the market for a product and make you some money. But I can't take the best marketing in the world to an audience that doesn't care about your product and do a damn thing for you. And so therefore, it occurs to me that granular audience build out is really the primary driver of ROI and conversions.
100%. Jason,
we had a point here because I was in the scene and TV business for 40 years, and it was increasingly more difficult to have a success because products are niched. How do you launch a golf product on mass market television, because you're hitting all these sites of people that don't golf, right? All these networks. So what Jason has done is just really nailed it to where companies that have specific products or services that need to go to specific people, he has the ability to find those niche customers.
Yeah, it's powerful. I mean, the fact that when you can speak directly to the people that are going to be your potential buyers, it's one thing to be just shotgunning everywhere and hoping and praying that's going to turn into a customer. What I love about Specificity is it is hyper-focused. So Jason, I'm curious to hear from you, just kind of your perspective. Have you seen a big impact on just the traditional agency model due to like Android and Apple updates?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be clear and tell you that I am not a silver bullet guy. I don't think one singular marketing approach solves all challenges. And if I did, and I was right, then we'd be the only company doing marketing, right? Everybody else would go away. Clearly, there is a branding element that is helpful to marketing campaigns. There are other elements that are helpful. One of the things we see with our traditional marketing partners, and we do a lot of business with ad agencies with the iOS update, is they were relying upon platforms that unknowingly were relying upon app tracking data. And the iOS update 14.5 eliminated app tracking data because they gave consumers a very simple question to answer. Do you want this app to be able to track you moving forward? 94% of consumers, whether it's Facebook, the Weather Channel, Instagram, any of them, said no. And so it eliminated and extrapolated from the market just a plethora of data that big platforms outside of big tech were using to deliver targeted audiences. So what you saw with traditional ad agencies left with is, frankly, just a lack of understanding as to why. And so they couldn't fix it, number one. And number two, they saw a declination, and a very sharp declination in engagement metrics in their client campaigns through digital mediums because it went shotgun. It went from, very specific intent to buy and hobby categories and the like to Pinellas County or this city, or, and so that being the case, ad agency found themselves without the ability to target for their clients. And so, yeah, we saw major impact for ad agency partners. And frankly, a lot of them are our partners now because of the impact they were feeling with other digital strategies out there.
And I just want to add to that this whole, what we're talking about right now about the impact and what Specificity is doing is a big reason why Kevin and I partnered with the company, because we see the huge potential of the upside. And it leads me to my question for you, Kevin. So many companies come to you, they pitch you, they have an idea, and what do you look for in a CEO or a company when you're looking to partner with them? Obviously, it's the traits that Jason has because we've partnered together, been working together. But what are some of the core traits you look for in a partnership, or specifically the CEO itself?
Well, so I think, let me say, before I hit the CEO, you said what I look for in a company. Well, the company Specificity is very powerful because it solves a big problem, and it solves it in a unique fashion. And so that what I look for, it's one thing to be able to solve the problem, but there's often a lot of solutions to problems. But I look for a solution that's unique enough such that there's not a lot of other people out there doing it already, right? And that's what Specificity is all about. They have uncovered this new way of marketing, and it's proprietary to the company. And so that was number one, what I saw with the company, and why I wanted to invest to be part of Specificity. But also Jason's background, he's got 12 years of solid experience of understanding what it takes to be successful in digital marketing. And, he just said something that I think will appeal to everybody, that, hey, look, companies need to do all kinds of marketing, right? Here's a gentleman that's running a public company acknowledging, yes, we have a service, but we're not saying give up what you're doing. I mean, let's be real, right? And this is a reality check. And this, Jason is a reality-based entrepreneur that knows what it takes, because he's been through the ups and the downs of this industry. And by the way, what he just said, 94% of the people are checking the box, do not take my details. This has changed. I mean, why did Facebook and all these stocks, Snap and Facebook, and the stocks plummeted, right? So there's a great opportunity for companies like Specificity to take the ball and run with it from here. And that's why we got involved.
Jason, I want to ask you, so what is some exciting things that's coming up with Specificity? Obviously, we're a publicly traded company. We have some big things in the works. Can you talk about maybe some big updates coming up with the company and some of the things we have with our technology?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got to be very careful, as you know, as the CEO of a publicly traded company, not to make forward-looking statements, right? Both in terms of revenue and technologies we haven't quite buttoned up to have the exclusive on, but I can share a little bit of insight. Right now, we have access to over 5 billion data points, and those data points update every 7 to 15 seconds. So it's real-time dynamic data. What's left out there in the marketplace, great for the most part, is static data. It's data sitting on a servers that agencies go by. It may be real-time, it may not. We are bringing on a new tool that is going to pair our data extrapolation tools seamlessly with our ad delivery software in such a way to deliver that omni-channel presence immediately into these very granularly targeted audiences. Most digital marketing, and I should say this to back up to Kevin's point about the 12 years I've been doing this. There was a time we did big data email marketing because it worked. There was a time our company sent tens of millions of emails weekly on behalf of our clients, right? So, because it worked. There were times we did automated marketing. There were times we used HubSpot. There were times we've used, all kinds of other strategies like propensity modeling, data acquisition. We stopped using them when they quit working. And if we're any good at what we do, you see the writing on the wall a little bit enough ahead of time to understand you've got to evolve. This company, and myself in particular, has been through about 7 different technology iterations where you're on one and you move on to the next. And luckily, thus far, our timing's been pretty good. We got real lucky with this iOS update because we started this endeavor a couple of years ago, and this iOS update only came out 18 months ago. And you've heard the saying, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. That's us at Specificity. But the forging the path ahead never stops. Right now, I'm in talks with 3 companies that have excellent ideas in terms of new technologies, new ways to identify very specifically targeted audiences that will be the next iteration. We're trying to take equity share positions in their company and then therefore have some control over the deployment of these technologies and an exclusive arrangement with them. But we're working on things all the time here at Specificity to stay ahead of the game.
Jason, could you share just maybe 1 or 2 different specific examples of companies, like, you don't say obviously the name, but like industries of how we're using our technology to help them grow through our hyper-focused digital marketing?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So I'll give you an example. So we have a client that is a multiple location client that sells pools and hot tubs. They do a ton of revenue. But because of the nature of that industry, they're relegated to territory. So you can't just branch out, because you're going to end up in a competitor's backyard, and that's a no-no in their business. So the key for them is when they're deploying their marketing spend, it's not people that are Googling hot tubs. Everybody wants a hot tub. Who's going to buy a hot tub? Who's going to drop 20 grand on the high-end hot tub versus 3,000 for the cheap hot tub? Who's in the market to buy a hot tub in this sales cycle versus maybe next year? Data analytics and modeling absolutely answer those very important questions and help us with the company, and I'll name the name, Burnett Pools, identify which of those audience segments is right for the marketing now, is next for the marketing deployment, and is in the future for marketing deployment. In addition to that, you get into issues of relevance. If you've got somebody that's looking for, your blue collar, they still want a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 hot tub, and you're sending them ads because you've just identified them as somebody searching for a hot tub, and you're sending them ads for a $20,000 fully loaded hot tub, they're going to tune you out and assume they can't afford your product offering. Conversely, if you've got somebody looking for the hot tub where the TV pops out, the stereos pop out, and it's got seating for 15 at 20 to 30 grand, and you send them an offer for a $3,000 baseline, really cheap hot tub, they're going to say that company's not for me. So you're drawing negative brand correlation by not being segmented and hyper relevant. By doing things the way we do it, in other words, most digital marketing companies arrive at data. We start with it. And by doing so, we segment consumer audiences underneath that at-large audience in the market and deliver hyper-relevant messaging, and that just increases ROI. And Burnett Pools will be the first to hop on a call with our clients and say, oh yeah, trust these guys. They know what they're doing.
So I actually share a point. It made me think about, we're talking about just speaking to the right people who are going to buy your product or service. And Kevin, I want to throw it to you because obviously you've taken 22 companies now to over $100 million, and we're excited about the future of what we can do with Specificity. Can you talk about Celsius? Because that was a company that started out, I don't know, about 10 years ago, and it was 20-cent stock, and now it's grown to $100 stock. But specifically the marketing you guys did to help grow the company, but really understanding who you were catering to, really hyper-focused to the right audience who bought the product.
Right. So that's a great example of a product that was never going to work with the mass market kinds of approaches. You could not, unless you had a huge budget for television, like 8 or 10 million, and or even doing digital was very costly, and without having data. But the bottom line is what we uncovered at that time was the influencer model. And so, Celsius it was very aggressive using influencers. And to this day, I mean, they have thousands and thousands of fitness Instagram influencers and TikTokers and celebrities. And, Flo Rida was an influencer. And then the gentleman who won the McGregor, the boxer and UFC guy. And then Shaun White during the Olympics. But the bottom line is these thousands of influencers have been very powerful, and that's been another way for them to connect. And just as Jason has said here, companies need to look at many different ways to do marketing. And I do believe, though, that now Specificity could bring some value to a company like Celsius, because of the way that they can can pinpoint and target some of the customers that they're looking for. So because Celsius customer is a niche customer.
Sure.
Jason, is there? No, go.
Well, I was just going to illuminate that example a little further as it relates to how we do things. So that's a great example of how we partner with agencies. So the build out of the persona is often done in the brand development, right? So the understanding of the audience segments that are engaging with the brand the most based on the value propositions of the company. We work with agencies that are brilliant in the branding strategy phase. That's not what we do. We come in after that. We're the sharp end of the sword, the sharp tip of the sword. We come in after that, identify those personas, extrapolate those device IDs, and then deploy messaging designed to drive the conversion or the sale. And that's what I meant by you've got to have both in order to be truly successful in the marketing space.
Jason, what do you see coming in the next digital arena in terms of greater restriction on data control in either the private sector or regulatory bodies?
Yeah, so a lot, frankly. I think what you're going to see is, this with Elon Musk acquiring Twitter and then releasing all the information he's done. We've gained a very detailed insight into how these social media companies have been operating. And excuse me, frankly, politics aside, let's just talk marketing. They are favoring brands. They are suppressing brands. They are suppressing competitor products to their favorite product ad spenders. And it's had such a net negative impact because we all know, as goes one, goes all of them. It's in the monkey see, monkey do world of social media that Facebook is doing it, who's lost $250 billion in valuation and ad revenue. And it's absolutely crushing their prospects. They ducktail, ran to the metaverse, and they've done it prematurely because we're not ready for the metaverse yet. Your consumers that are spending money in the highest dollar amounts and the highest volume are outside of the demographic that's strapping goggles on and goofing around in their living room with goggles on. It's just not there yet. The wearable technology is not there. I just talked to a company today that's got a pair of glasses that's going to get you an augmented reality, just a simple, not big goggles. This is still very much in development. And so they had no choice, though, because they absolutely crushed their capabilities because they lost consumer faith. They lost trust in businesses. So what we see coming down the pike is companies that want to harness data in ways that protect consumer privacy are absolutely going to be encouraged to do so. And that's what we do at Specificity. I need to know you're in the market for a car if I'm selling for a car dealership. I don't need your date of birth. I don't want your social security number. I don't want the liability of having your personally identifiable information. We'll let our customer get that when they're writing the purchase order, right? That's what we tell our clients. That's where you'll get the personally identifiable information. Companies that are going to struggle are the companies that are not only collecting, but then selling or leveraging personally identifiable information. The tolerance from the public for that has gone incredibly haywire. The public doesn't want it. They don't like it, as we saw with the opt-out rate with the iOS update. State and federal regulators across the country are talking about how to solve this challenge. The way to stay out of the purview of that is to do the right thing, frankly, which is we don't need to be creepy about our marketing strategies. If you're in the market for a product, or if you're a high likely buyer, sure, here's a relevant ad, which consumer surveys show that the consumers want anyway. But to harness that data and then sell it out the back door for additional profit is specious at best and criminal, I think, moving forward. I think you'll see some legislation coming down the pike that'll make it criminal.
Kevin, what do you looking at the stock market, you look at Facebook, you look at these other social platforms, what do you think the pivot or the change they're going to have to make in order to survive the next decade with what they're doing? I mean, Specificity is doing those things. But what do you think these big companies, tech companies, will have to do?
Well, I think, you're seeing they're trying to create some new technologies. You got the whole chat box stuff going on right now, but artificial intelligence, but I think, yes, they're going to be looking for new ways, but they're going to be looking to do things like we're doing. So, it's, this is why we like being a public company, because when this catches on and takes off and there's companies that are in that space will be looking to make some acquisitions of companies that have developed some pretty unique new propositions. So that's why I think there's good news for the pubco here.
I would add, Brendan, if I could, that when you're looking at this chatbot genre of marketing,
ChatGPT,
ChatGPT, what you're really looking at is you're looking at what is so typical for the digital and tech space. Buzzwords jump ahead 3 years before fulfillment of usable technology. So if you go on and play around with Chatbot GPT and ask it questions, you'll find out that the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017, which is the current winner of the Super Bowl. This technology is nowhere near ready for public consumption. Now there's companies pushing it into the public space. We've looked at it. We've tested many of these platforms. It's not there yet. One of the technologies we're looking at for about 24 to 30 months from now, and taking an equity share position now to try to help aid in the process, the finalization of that build out. But this technology is nowhere close to being really usable for the marketing space. It's just not there yet. Right now it's baseline real-time propensity modeling, which if you don't pair it right with the right data and an acquisition tools, which none of them have and haven't figured out yet, I mean, it's an information booth at best.
The part I love about this, and I'm very grateful that we're a part of the company, is yes, we're helping companies grow through our technology, but I love the fact that we're taking equity ownership in different companies because we're helping them scale. And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, Kevin, that's what you did on Shark Tank and a big part of what your life has been over the past 40 years.
Yeah, I mean, look, it gives us a chance to, sometimes companies can't, they don't have a lot of capital. So they look for partners that can bring things to the table, and they'll give up equity for a barter of our technology for equity, right? I mean, that makes sense. They're still going to have to write a check for something, but we can bring technology to the table and barter for equity. So yes, absolutely. This is what sharks do, right? Okay. They like to work with companies, but they like to make it easy for everybody to utilize, even if they can't afford it.
That's right.
So, by the way, wish the Eagles had won. Brian was at that game, and it was a shame, but it's good to hear that somebody thinks they won.
Well, I'm from Kansas City, so I know who won. I'm very
okay. There you go. Hey, good job.
So, Jason, I know we're going to wrap up here soon. Jason, any last words in terms of just specificity, what people should do, and also mention where people can find us to be able to work with us?
Yeah, so first of all, you can go to specificityinc.com and check us out there. We have a TikTok account where we disseminate a lot of content, at the Angry CEO on TikTok. We're getting ready to launch a podcast, as you guys know, and have been instrumental in helping us get off the ground. We're talking literally days away from the launch of that. What I would say to companies and marketers and business owners that are finding themselves in this challenge of trying to target audiences where they can actually get some ROI out of their ad spend, because unless you're Coca-Cola and you have $50 million a year, you've got to throw away to avoid paying taxes on it. So you're just going to throw it out the window on branding because who cares? It's either that or give it to Uncle Sam. Most companies don't have that luxury. Most companies, if they're going to spend $5,000, $10,000 a month, they have absolutely got to realize ROI is understand the technologies that are out there now are not targeting only and specifically the buyers that are in the market for your product. And everybody you're paying to serve ads to is wasting your money. So there's always a strategy out there. We're not the only game in town. We're just the first and the best.
Well, I just got to say, every time we have this conversation, Jason, I learned something new. I'm really excited about the future of everything. Kevin, any last words you want to say about the company or anything right now?
Well, just want to say that we only get involved in a handful of projects on an annual basis. This is one that we spent a lot of time doing our due diligence and making sure that this is something that we thought we could bring value to the table, and also loving the technology and Jason's background, et cetera. So we're in all the way, and anything we can do to help, we're here to do that. But I think bottom line is Jason has developed an awesome technology, and now it's just getting it out to the masses, and that's what we hope to be part of here.
Yeah, we appreciate your guys' involvement too.
Yeah, and anybody watching right now, if you want to work with us and learn more about what we do at Specificity, just go to specificityinc.com. We look forward to hearing from you. So thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having me.